Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Shining Light video podcast show, where I shine a light on my guest and the positivity they're spreading in their communities. I'm Michael Esposito, the host of the show and an insurance agent specializing in business and personal insurance. I will bring in my guest in just a moment. I see she's already here in the chat and ready to go, so she'll be in just shortly. But first, a quick update on Forgotten Children of Haiti's fundraiser, Masks for the Frontline in Haiti. Thanks to our generous donors, we've raised $3,000 towards our goal of $5,000. But the fundraiser is ending this week, essentially the end of the month. So we're going to do one final push this weekend. I'll probably do a live video to get some more donations so that we can get closer to our goal of $5,000. But please do visit our GoFundMe campaign and make a donation today of just $8 to buy one mask for one frontline worker in Haiti. The link's in my bio and in the description of this video. This show has also been sponsored by AMH Home Services, where they're donating $750 towards our fundraiser for anybody who chooses them for their mold and remediation services. Just mention the show and they will donate $750 towards our fundraiser. Thank you very much to AMH. And my guest today is a member of HV Gold Rewards and offers a discount to card members. So visit hvgoldrewards.com to purchase your $10 rewards card, enter promo code FCH, and HV Gold Rewards will donate $8 towards our fundraiser. Without further ado, let's bring in my guest. And she'll be coming in, just see her here, and she'll be coming in another second or two. We'll see her live. There she is. How are you, Paige?
How are you?
I love the background. You have a beautiful picture on your website of that background of how that all works out. We'll have to look at it later. I don't want to mess up your setup. Let me get you a proper introduction, Paige. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Shining Light video podcast show, where I shine a light on my guest and the positivity they're spreading in their communities. I'm Michael Esposito, the host of the show and an insurance agent specializing in business and personal insurance. We will transmit the city, no less, but greater and better and more beautiful than the way it was transmitted to us. An Ephebic Oath sworn by the young men of Athens. And we see Paige nodding here. And I'm going to share with you her mantra in a second. But how are you making your community better? Let us know in the comments. My guest today's mantra is to leave her community better than she found it. She does this by building relationships with the local wineries, cideries, distilleries, and mead makers, granting her the opportunity to offer her customers a wide variety. She's Paige Flori of Boutique Wines, Spirits, and Ciders, and she'll share why those relationships are vital to her community. Welcome, Paige.
Good morning, everybody. How are you?
Very good, Paige. I'm so happy to have you on. I have to tell you, I saw you when Ramon and I first linked up on HV Gold, and I saw you on the HV Gold website doing a quick video. And after watching that video, I said, I have to have her on the show. You brought so much enthusiasm, so much positivity, and so much to offer to the community that I just had to shine a light on you. So I'm so honored and happy to have you on today.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
You're very... Go ahead.
We're really into the New York products, so we're very, very enthusiastic about supporting other local small businesses that manufacture in the area. So it's really important to us.
Right. Yeah, and I'm just fixing my audio levels. I'm sorry, just so I could hear you a little bit better. But you have a really great background. You have an extensive knowledge on Italian wines and a passion for cider. And you decided to leave a great sales job and start Boutique Wines, Spirits, and Ciders. Could you share with us why you, your husband, and brother decided to start this beautiful venture together?
I always joke that an Italian wine rep, a bartender, and a CIA grad walked into a bar. And how it happened, we didn't really walk into a bar, but my husband is a Culinary Institute of America graduate. My brother is a mixologist, and I was an Italian wine rep. And having been in and out of a ton of different stores, I just found a huge frustration just trying to find information about or even variety of hard ciders. And since I was in the Hudson Valley, I kind of thought, well, shouldn't I see more of them here? And I didn't. So I thought about it and I was like, I have the wine knowledge. I have a passion for cider. My brother understands the business of mixing and the spirit section, and my husband has an extensive food background from probably the best cooking school in the United States. So I figured, well, why don't the three of us just get together and put together a store that centers around those things. So wine, spirits, ciders, and then of course we added mead into the mix as well, because there's a lot of great mead makers in the area too. So we added all of those things together and we created boutique wine, spirits, and ciders.
What a fantastic story. Yeah, and your extensive background that you guys have together combined really offers a great service to your customers. Something that you shared with me was that you do share this knowledge and this background with your customers. Could you share with us how you do that, how you interact with your customers? Because just to kind of separate you from the crowd, really, you're not just a quote unquote liquor store. You offer so much more. You described to me on the knowledge and how you share that with your customers through the service that you provide. Could you share with us what you do in terms of that?
Yeah, sure. So we actually have a pretty curated selection of wines, meaning that we don't necessarily grab huge brands. We really look for smaller brands, artisan brands, brands that are family owned and operated, that do smaller quantities of those products. So we really look for those. We have some basic brands that are bigger and more commercial, but we really, really focus on smaller brands. So when you come into the store, we always ask you what we can help you find today. So if you're saying, hey, you know what, I'm having steak tonight and I'm grilling it with some mushrooms and onions, and I was thinking about pairing that with something, what do you think? So we'll kind of come together and sort of figure out what your palate is, what you're serving, and then what I have on the wall, where your budget is, and then try to figure that out all together with the customer and work it through. And then I tell them, hey, come back and tell me, how did you like it? Give me some feedback so that next time I can actually help you even better. I can really pinpoint your palate now that you've had a few things in my store that I know what it is, then I can help you find other things.
Yeah, and you know, we spoke about customer experience yesterday on our show. We had George from G Cantos Roofing in, and he prides himself on customer service and customer experience. So when you're doing that for your customer, that truly is. You're providing an experience with them. You're getting to know them on a personal level, and you're tailoring the product to them. And I really love that you guys do that. Now, of course, you said, is it your husband who's the CIA graduate?
Yeah, so my husband's a CIA grad. Yeah.
Go ahead. And right, and so he's able to bring so much knowledge and background to that pairing, I'm sure, right?
Not only to the pairing, but also if you're using products to cook with, which often happens as well. Somebody comes in and says, hey, I've got this recipe, and it says, put in a quarter cup of wine. I'm like, let's see what you have. Let's see the spice palette. Let's pick the right, even though it's not necessarily an expensive wine, let's pick the right type of wine that'll pull those flavors best and not sort of muss everything up. So,
right.
So we really look at that, and Pete really helps out in that regard because he's got the cooking background, which is phenomenal. We also have a certified sommelier on staff as well. So not just a som, but a certified som, a level 2 som on staff in addition to the three of us. So, I mean, we kind of actually have a whole lot of fun debating what we think will go best with your meal.
Right, yeah. And you know, I want to talk a little bit more about the relationships that you formed with these distilleries, but first let's just focus on the customer for one more second here. You also mentioned to me that because of the quarantine that we're in, the customers are looking for new and different things and different ideas. Could you share with us what they're looking for and why it excites you so much?
Yeah, so it's fun when people want to go off the beaten path or off their regular, because it just gives us an opportunity to expand somebody's palate and somebody's horizon, talk a little bit more about history of an area or background of a wine or where grapes come from or how something is made. All of those things are just kind of fun to talk about, and when people learn and they can turn around and go back to their house and go, guess what, this wine comes from, and here's how
right.
this is made, and this is why it tastes that way. You're giving a customer the tools to really like have a conversation and really just kind of bring it all together for whoever they're entertaining, and that's so much fun. So yeah, customers really go off the beaten path and really like to explore now, and that's fun.
Yeah, and sharing those stories really, like you said, you know, when you're sitting down for a meal, it adds to the conversation. It adds some value to what you're bringing home, like you just said. And especially since It's close and local to our area. This is, of course, we're speaking of the Hudson Valley area, and the Hudson Valley region offers so much in terms of what Paige is sharing with us today. Paige, you build really great relationships with these mead makers, these distilleries and wineries. Could you share with us some stories about them or these relationships that you formed with them?
Yeah, sure. I mean, so one of the things that makes us a little different is we have probably the largest collection of hard cider in New York State. So because of that, and there's so many incredibly talented cider makers in just the Hudson Valley, but certainly in all of New York State, we definitely started to get a lot of cider makers coming in, reaching out to us, sharing their stuff, sharing their stories. So that's really cool. And then, of course, I come out of the wine industry, so I'm very, very aware of what's going on around me in terms of wine. I have lots of wineries in this area that I've either tasted. I've done blendings for White Cliff Winery. I've worked with those folks and helped them do wine blendings and stuff like that. So it's really great to see them grow and change and work with them. And it's just a lot of fun. And I feel that we offer a place that can help those companies grow. They're small family-owned businesses. We're a small family-owned business. And I think having the ability to be able to explain that to our customers and expand the customer base for the producers in the area, it gives us that opportunity, and I want to take full advantage of it.
Yeah, and you do take advantage of it. I want to get into the ciders in your place because that's something that is deems its own little segment of its own. So this is the Shining Light video podcast show where I shine a light on my guests and the positivity they're spreading in their communities. I'm here with Paige Flori, owner of Boutique Wines, Spirits, and Ciders, and she has one of the largest selections on the East Coast of ciders, and I would love to just hear your what that, you know, how that started. I understand you have a passion and a like for it, but I want to just take us back in time a second here. The cider boom, I want to say, kind of started in what, 2006, 2007, where we had a big cider boom in our area and nationwide, globally, however we want to look at it. Could you share with us a little bit about maybe that knowledge there, and then of course how you got featured as the biggest cider carrier on the East Coast?
Yeah, so that was, we actually got awarded Best Cider Collection on the East Coast by the American Cider Association maybe 4 days before COVID hit. So, but it was a really, really incredible honor, and something we completely had no idea. It was sort of out of the blue. I just got an email the day before. I was actually at a wine tasting with Sam that works here. We were actually at a wine tasting, and I get this email, and I was like, wow. So it was pretty cool. But how did that start? So I just really loved cider growing up. I actually didn't like beer. So I either wanted wine or something else. And generally, when you're in your 20s, there's not a ton of wine at a party, at least back in my 20s.
Right.
So what happened was I started to explore other things, and I found I didn't like wine coolers because they didn't taste like wine. And so I found these things called ciders, hard ciders. I'm like, well, this is pretty good. And I started to get introduced to some of the basic stuff back in the day: woodchuck cider, woodpecker cider, Hornsby. There was one out of England called TNT cider. So I found these ciders, and so I would bring them home sometimes, and my brother, who works here, the mixologist, is a few years younger than I am, and I'd share it with him to let him sort of taste it. So that's where he got his passion for ciders, because I would bring it home and say, hey, I like this, see what you think. So anyway, fast forward a few years, like 20 years, and I'm walking around going from store to store as a wine rep, and I'm asking about ciders because here I am in the Hudson Valley. There should be a ton of ciders here. Where are they? I can't find them. And when I do find them and I ask questions, nobody can tell me anything about them. So I'm buying them blind, and I'm buying 6 packs of something that I have no idea what's in there. So I was very frustrated. So I just thought, well, I think I can do this a little better because I cannot be the only person in the Hudson Valley that wants to try these things. So I took a gamble, and I talked to my brother, and I talked to my husband, and we created this space. And when we first opened, I said to my husband, I said, listen, I want a store that has ciders in the middle of the store. I said, I don't want it to be an afterthought, a little dark section like the bad room at blockbuster, you know, the naughty. I didn't want that. I wanted to be front and center so that when you walk in, if you like cider, you don't feel like you're going to the corner, like, you know, with the dunce cap on. So he says, okay. And I said, you know, I really want to do taps of cider. And in the taps of cider, I said, I want to build a big tree, and I want the branches of the tree to come out onto the floor, and I want to tap in the tree. And he looks at me and he's like, we're still talking about a retail store, right? I'm like, yes. I'm like, but I wanted to have a tree so that people know, like, we love cider here, and there's a whole section over here. Come down if you want to taste it, if you want to try it, if you want to learn about it, it's here. So that's how that happened. So we have a 13 tap system. We started with 9 when we first opened back in 2017. But we expanded that after about a year. So now we have 13 total on tap right now, and about 200 in bottle and can, and about 80 of them are New York SKUs.
Wow. Wow. I love the tree in the middle of the store. Obviously, very creative, very artistic, and it's beautifully done. And for our listeners out there right now, you only see me and Paige, but if you go on Paige's website, the picture is there, and it's really, really a beautiful piece of art, quite honestly. And 13 taps, and you mentioned, and I kind of want to go back for a second here because I don't want to overlook this. Over 200 variety in cans.
Yes.
13 cider. Go ahead.
Bottles and cans. So not all
bottles
cans,
and
some of
cans.
them are bottles, yeah.
I mean, that is just on its own. It's like having a cider place, right? And then, of course, on top of that, you add the wines and everything. I mean, really, really, really fantastic there. I want to kind of go back to something that you said there, which was that you wanted to do something and you said, I can do it better. And I'm kind of fast forwarding over to your mantra, which was what I shared in the beginning, which was a take of the the Athens Oath that young men took. But share with me a little bit about that before we get into anything else in the show, because what a beautiful mantra that your store, that you, your brother, and husband put together to focus on the community. Could you share with us that mantra and what it means to you?
Yeah, so I was introduced to that mantra in high school. I went to a high school in New York City called Townsend Harris High School, and
how did we not talk about this in the pre-interview? I'm from Queens. What's the matter? Of course I know Townsend Harris. I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
That's okay. So anyway, so I'm alumni there, and so one of the things they do at Townsend Harris is, you know, there's a very classical education there. Greek and Roman culture are a big part of what they teach, and the Ephebic Oath was one of the first things that they taught us at Townsend Harris, and that really sunk in at a very young age. When they first taught us that, I was 13 years old, and we had to take this oath, and we repeated it every single year. There was a whole ceremony where we took the oath and talked about the oath, and that stayed with me through my adulthood. And I've always thought that was an important thing. You're only as good as the community around you. And so if you're doing better than your community members, then you can reach down and bring them up with you and not step on them. And it's just very, very important. And it's one of the reasons why I spend so much time talking about local products and applauding people that come in our store and ask for local products and purchase those local products and share them and enjoy them, because those are our community members, those are our neighbors. They're producing, they're manufacturing, and there are other families with kids that go to school here and pay taxes here, and that's so important because that money and that level of expertise stays right here in the Hudson Valley. And that's where we all live. And so it's important. I live here, I work here, and I want to support everybody else who lives and works here as the best we can.
That's just beautiful, and it really sums up like what you're all about. And that mantra, I think we can all kind of follow that mantra in our own ways. When we look at like this show, everybody that I interview on this show really kind of brings that. They're all about the community. Somebody else that brings it all about the community is our CE Avengers in here, Ramon Pinheiro, HV Gold president here, and this is HV Gold Week, and I want to speak to you about that in a second. This is the Shining Light video podcast show where I shine a light on my guests and the positivity they're spreading in their communities. I'm here with Paige Flori, the owner of Boutique Wines, Spirits, and Ciders, one of the largest cider selections on the East Coast. So visit her her store, and I'm sure you can find it online as well and speak with her. They're a great resource. She is a wine enthusiast, a cider enthusiast, so she has a lot of knowledge. Her husband graduated the CIA and has great knowledge, and her brother is a mixologist. I love the joke of how the three of you walked in a bar. Paige, speaking of your community and uplifting your community, our friend Ramon, who's in here, he's all about that. Could you share with us about HB Gold Rewards and how that's helped you in your community, and also the discount that you offer by being a card member?
Yeah, so the HB Rewards, Ramon actually approached me right when he was sort of starting this whole project, and he saunters into my store and explains to me, and I kind of look at him and I'm like, why are you doing this? He's like, because I want to help out the community. I want to help other small businesses. And I'm like, yes, I understand that. Like, that's important to me. I'm like, where do I sign? Sign me up. So it was really kind of cool, and now it's grown so much. And the thing I really love about it is not just the people that it brings into my store, which is always great. It's nice to see other people supporting small businesses like mine, but it also gives me a great place when I need a service or something. I go back into that group and I look to see who the other members are, and I've used people like Fox Air, and I've used Wayne, who owns a catering company, and I've had him in the store, and I've hired him for events as well. So I go back into that group and I see who else is a member, because they believe in the same things that I believe in. And so I start my shopping there, and there are all other small businesses, again, like me, and so want to support those. So I love it for that reason.
That's awesome. And then what is the discount that you offer for card members?
So we offer 10% on any single bottle of wine or cider, which normally you'd have to buy an entire case of 12 to get. So you get it on a single bottle. Just show your card. Just join and show the card, and you'll get your money back so fast if you do it that way.
And in fact, the card is only $10, and Ramon and I worked out was HB Gold Rewards will that $10 will donate $8 of that $10 to Forgotten Children of Haiti fundraiser if you enter the promo code FCH. So thank you, Ramon, for putting that together, and thank you for being a card member. So visit Paige; she has a nice discount for you if you are a card member.
And
this is
other places on there you can visit as well. There's tons of other places, everything from food and restaurants to cakes and cookies. Cardozo Cookies is on there, which is awesome. I mean, I've had my air conditioning people come and do that. I had a new air conditioner unit put in to my house. So there's some great people on there, and you should really explore not just my shop, but all the other shops on there. You just look, you can go there and you can just peruse who's on there. Yes,
and in fact, I'm glad you brought that up, because it is one of the largest business networking Facebook groups in the Hudson Valley. And when Ramon told me the number, I was like, is that right? He said 8,500 members in that group. So great advertising for the small local business, but like you said, a great resource to just go shopping local and being able to find people that offer deals and promotions and different things for the community. And as you said, all like-minded people. We're all about the community, all about kind of making sure that we're all rising together, which I really love. And speaking of positivity, this is the Shining Light video podcast show where I shine a light on my guests and the positivity they're spreading in their communities. I'm here with Paige Flori, owner of Boutique Wine, Spirits, and Ciders. Paige, you are a positive person. When I called your shop to do the show, you were so overjoyed and excited to share your story, to be a part of this community. And I have to ask you, being such a positive person, what do you see as the positive outcome from the COVID crisis that we're in, from the quarantine that we're in, really?
Well, actually, I think a lot of people are really spending more time with their family. And I think that's a really important part, like a little lesson. Like, we've all been rushing around so much up until everything stopped in March, and now you're home and you're spending more time with your children or your spouse or your loved ones that are home. And I think there's a lesson to be learned there, which is, maybe we ought to stop and smell the roses a little bit more often. And I think that's just a silver lining to this. There's a lot of tragedy, of course, and a lot of people stressed, but I think the biggest part of this is that you can spend time with family, and maybe we ought to take a little bit more time to just have dinner with whoever, and appreciate friendships and being able to connect with people, which can't right now. So we need to appreciate that.
I love the I love the appreciation of it all. First, you have some appreciation in here. I'm seeing the comments come in, and you have quite a nice following there, Paige. Several people saying hello. I don't want to mess up my screen, so I don't want to go through all of them, but I see Pop3, and I saw a guy named Thomas in there, and a lot of people just saying hi, Xander, Chris. They're all saying hi to you, Paige. You have a great following of people that love you and support you, and that's really wonderful. Yeah, you said that about family and reconnecting with family and being with family. You know, I have to acknowledge the fact that, of course, it's really hard. It's really it's more to our close family where we're living with, and it's a little bit challenging, but we're able to reach out to other family members. And you're right, it is kind of a great time to stop and smell the roses, or in your case, stop and smell the cider, right?
Yes.
I had to put in that little pun in there for you. This is the Shining Light video podcast show where I shine a light on my guests and the positivity they're spreading in their communities. I'm here with Paige Flori, and she spreads a lot of positivity in her community. We just spoke about how she's reconnecting with her family and sharing that with everybody to reconnect with their families. But some of the things that you do in your community is you're an active chamber member for the Dutchess County Chamber of Commerce. You also are part of Rescue Dogs, and you were also just recently honored by the New York National Guard. Could you share with us any acts of kindness and generosity that you're witnessing in your community? And also maybe share with us, why were you honored by them?
We actually have some of the National Guard and some of our service members staying in the hotels which are adjacent to our store. And on Good Friday, I had a sergeant come in, and she was asking me what things might be open, because she said that none of the servicemen had anywhere to eat for Easter dinner, and they were going to cater some stuff in, but most of the restaurants were closed, and she was at a loss as to what to do for them, and they were going to order Domino's, is basically where she got to.
Which is not good pizza. Stop it.
Yeah,
There's better pizzerias in the area, people.
So anyway, I looked at one of my coworkers, Vanessa, who works here, and I'm like, this can't happen. This is completely wrong. I was like, what can we do? So I left her alone in the shop on Good Friday, and I'm like, listen, handle the shop. I'm going to go see what I can find out there that I can put together. So I started running from store to store, and they had limits on everything back in April. And so I'm literally running in trying to get little bits of food. And I called the hotel that they were staying at, and they were like, there's about 280 service members. And I'm like, wow, okay, well, it's going to be really hard to do this, getting 2 packages of chicken at a time. So anyway, I'm running from store to store, and I got a bunch of stuff together, and I came back, and I went to my house, and I brought it all in, and I said to my culinary grad husband, here, we're making dinner for 280 service members. I'm like, and I could really use your help and expertise. So Vanessa, actually, who was back at the store, I had called her and said what I had gotten, and she reached out to her network of friends, and they all started to kick in, and somebody made ziti, and somebody made cookies, and and 2 of her friends actually came and volunteered to actually hand it out. So Easter morning, we came and we did an entire buffet for 280 service members who couldn't sit down to eat. They had to go back to their rooms, but at least they had a proper dinner. So the New York Guard actually brought us a little certificate thanking us for doing that for them, which again is really, I just couldn't imagine. They can't be home. They're dealing with COVID and all the stresses that are going with sick people and all of that. And they can't be home with their families, and they don't even have a real dinner. And I was like, no, I can't. That can't happen. So that was a community effort with my husband, my brother watching the shop, Vanessa reaching out to her network of people, and them all kicking in. Or it takes a village. It really does. So it was a community effort, but it started here, and so they just said thank you. So they gave us a little certificate, which was pretty cool.
That is such a moving story. I'm sitting here listening to your story here, and I'm just thinking about the servicemen, as you said, and women who had this meal. And you have to imagine they're all very young people, individuals. And so I'm sure not just them, but you also impacted their families. Their parents are all appreciative of you doing that. And I also have to acknowledge the fact that for you to be able to bring the community together, to be able to do that, it goes again right back to your whole mantra and what you provide for your community, because they knew that you were doing good for somebody else and they were going to stand right behind you and help you. So I applaud you for that. And what a beautiful, beautiful thing to do for them. I'm so happy that you were able to share that with us today.
Thank you. Thanks for knowing that.
That's my job. This is the Shining Light Video Podcast Show, where I shine a light on my guests and the positivity they're spreading in their communities. I'm here with Paige Flori, the owner of Boutique Wine, Spirits, and Ciders, one of the largest cider selections on the East Coast. Give her a call. Go to their website. Find out all about it. Her husband's a CIA graduate. That's the Culinary Institute of America, one of the most renowned institutes in America, in the world. And he's able to help you pair your items, and so is she, and so is her brother, who is a mixologist. So, I mean, they just have a fantastic story, great knowledge, great service, and they're willing to share that with you when you come into the store, when you ask them questions and share with them what you're cooking and what you're making. Call them up, visit them online, and go into the store and visit them today. Paige, I know that you're going to have to get going pretty soon. You're going to have customers busting down those doors. Speaking of which, I would like to ask you, Paige, what's one place that you can't wait till this quarantine is over to bust down their doors, mask-free, and say, take care of me, I'm here, finally?
Well, I have a soft spot for Il Baroloto, which is one of my favorite restaurants, locally owned up in Fishkill. So I would love an Il Baroloto meal. They're not even offering takeout at the moment, so it's so tough. So I'd love to sit down and just have a meal with all the great staff there and a bartender and everything, and just kind of kick back and relax. I'm sure a lot of people would really love to sit down at a restaurant right now. I cannot be alone.
I know, no, you are not alone, but you must frequent that place very often, because that name just rattles off so quickly, I wasn't even able to catch it. So could you just say the name of the restaurant one more time for us, please?
Oh, I said I was a big fan of Il Baroloto in Fishkill.
Il Baroloto.
Yes.
And what kind of food do they serve there?
Italian, Northern Italian food.
Northern Italian.
Want to go shopping and get some new summer clothes, maybe from La Mer over in Beacon, and actually be able to try some stuff on, because she's awesome. Or Hudson Boutique over like in Hopewell, their stuff is really awesome too. Owned by both stores, owned by women, both locally owned, both moms. Like they're both owned by young mothers, and so and they have some great fun stuff. And so I'd love to get in there and try some new clothes on and be able to do that too. I'm sure everybody else does too. I can't be alone.
No, you're not alone. And I love that you brought up the small retail boutique shops. It's really wonderful that you did that. I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. And before we wrap up, I'd like to ask you if you have any final thoughts, any messages that you would like to share with everybody before we wrap up the show today.
Yeah, buy local, support local. If it's not wine, spirits, ciders, mead, or a shop like mine, find something else local. Go to a local nursery and get your plants that you're planting, or go to a local restaurant, get some takeout. Those guys could really use your help. Get some takeout from Dutch's Beer Cafe, or any one of those restaurants that are doing takeout. Melzingo, I had that last night. Go support local. These are local community people. They're small businesses like me. They're family owned. They're spending money in this community. Try to spend your money there. They really need it, and they need our support. So stay local. Thank you. I
love that. Thank you very much, Paige. And I love that the first one you said was nurseries, because my father, who lives down in Queens, went out to Long Island and went to the nurseries to buy plants. He can't stop buying plants. And I want to also just add to the buying local, is that local is your local community. I always speak about this on here because my family, my life extends outside of the Hudson Valley region. Local is your local community. It's the store owners, it's the shop owners like Paige that are family run, family owned. Visit them, shop from them. It doesn't have to be here in the Hudson Valley. If you live here, of course, do it here. But anywhere outside of there, as I said, my father goes to local nurseries in Queens and in Long Island. Outside of anywhere that you're watching this, your local community, support them and support local. Thank you so much. What an impactful, strong message that we need everybody to be following today, especially because these local businesses are the ones that are, quite honestly, hurting the most due to this quarantine. Paige, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. Before we wrap, I want to just give everybody a quick update on Forgotten Children of Haiti's fundraiser, Mass for the Frontline in Haiti. Due to our generous donors, we have raised $3,000 towards our goal of $5,000, which we're trying to accomplish by the end of this month, which is essentially the end of this week. So please go visit our GoFundMe campaign and make a donation today of just $8 to buy one mask for one frontline worker. The link's in my bio and in the description of this video. I want to thank our show sponsor today as well, AMH Home Services, who's donating $750 towards FCH's fundraiser for anyone who chooses them for their mold and remediation services. Just mention the show and they will make a donation of $750 towards Forgotten Turn of Hades fundraiser. And of course, Boutique Wines and Spirits and Ciders is a member of HV Gold Rewards and offers a discount to card members. Visit hvgoldrewards.com to buy your $10 card, enter promo code FCH, and HV Gold Rewards will donate $8 towards our fundraiser. I have to thank Ramon and thank everybody for being a part of that. Of course, the link's in my bio and in the description for that as well. Tune in tomorrow where my guest and HV Gold Rewards member, Veronica and Serena, owners of TNT Karate, will share the importance of setting boundaries and what makes them unique as women-owned karate school, as a woman-owned karate school. That's tomorrow at 10 a.m. on the Shining Light Video Podcast Show. I want to remind everybody that there will be a replay of today's show at 6 o'clock on my business Facebook channel, Michael Esposito Accent Insurance. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you, Paige, for being on the show today and being a part of our community. Thank you so much. Everybody, stay happy, stay healthy, and see you tomorrow. Bye.